Imagine waking up one morning, opening Instagram, and discovering that a famous comedian has done something more dramatic than any joke she has ever told. She has erased herself. Not a detox, not a rebrand, a total wipe. Years of photos, memories, moments with her child, all gone in an instant. This is exactly what Amy Schumer did the moment she reached her new, ultra-thin Ozempic-era body. The woman who once lectured the world about loving your natural shape now behaves like her former self was a crime scene that needed to be scrubbed clean. And the question is not, why did she do it? The real question is, what was she running from? Because when a public figure chooses to delete her entire past, it tells us something deeper than insecurity. It signals a fracture, a break between the person she was and the person she is trying desperately to become. Today, we're not talking about weight loss. We're talking about identity loss and the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the more famous someone becomes, the more they want to disappear.
Let's begin with the most alarming piece of evidence in this story. Amy Schumer didn't just lose weight. She lost her entire digital past. Only 4 photos remain on her Instagram. 4 carefully curated images, polished to match the new version of herself. Everything else, years of work, public moments, personal milestones, vanished without a trace, including photos with her own child. Most celebrities clean up their feeds from time to time, but this is different. This is not housekeeping. This is demolition. And when someone erases their history this aggressively, it tells us something important. It tells us they are at war with their former identity. Amy spent years preaching body positivity, years telling the world that beauty standards were toxic, years insisting that her larger body was a statement of empowerment. But the moment she became thin, she didn't celebrate her journey. She erased any evidence she ever looked different. It's the digital equivalent of burning old journals, except the whole world is watching. This is not confidence. This is fear, dressed as reinvention. And this fear is the foundation for everything that follows.
To understand why Amy's digital purge matters, we need to revisit the role she once played in modern culture. For years, Amy Schumer positioned herself as one of the loudest voices in the body positivity movement. She told women to embrace every curve. She mocked Hollywood's obsession with thinness. She framed her size as a political stance, a rebellion against the standards she said were oppressive. But here's the truth no one in that movement wants to admit. Body positivity sounds noble, right up until the moment someone has the chance to be thin. And Amy proved it. The new version of her, the one sculpted by GLP-1 injections and a major aesthetic overhaul, isn't celebrating her transformation with honesty. She's treating her former body like a stain she must hide at all costs, as if being seen before would betray the narrative she worked so hard to sell. It's ironic. The woman who told millions to love themselves as they are has now made it clear that she couldn't love herself as she was. Her actions contradict her message so completely that the facade collapses on impact. Because once the preacher abandons the sermon, the movement loses its spine. And Amy didn't just abandon it, she torched it on her way out the door. Now we move into the part of Amy's story that shifts from vanity
to something far more troubling. For years, Amy Schumer has described her husband, Chris Fisher, as autistic. Not through a medical journey she shared openly, not through a process guided by specialists, but through something far more casual, an online questionnaire she once joked about in her stand-up. And somehow, this became the explanation for every rude, dismissive, or insensitive thing he ever did. Walk away mid-conversation? Autism. Ignore her during pregnancy? Leave the hospital to browse pottery? Autism. Talk down to her? Make blunt comments? Act detached? Also, autism. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not every unpleasant behavior deserves a medical label. And when Amy uses a condition to justify the actions of a grown man, she isn't helping him, she's protecting him. Or perhaps she's protecting the story she wants people to believe about their marriage. Because if his actions are rooted in a disorder, then she doesn't have to confront the possibility that he was simply unkind. And she doesn't have to confront why she stayed. This is the trend no one wants to talk about. We are living in a culture where diagnosis becomes armor, where any difficult personality can be reframed as a condition, where the line between medical reality and psychological convenience becomes thinner every day. And when a celebrity does it, loudly, publicly, repeatedly, it rewires the way society interprets real neurological disorders. Amy isn't just telling a story about her husband. She's contributing to a dangerous cultural habit. If you don't like someone's behavior, call it a condition. Physical change doesn't happen in a vacuum. It rewires relationships, self-perception, and the unspoken hierarchy inside a marriage. And Amy Schumer's new body didn't just alter her appearance, it shifted the balance of power in her life. For years, she lived with the belief that Chris Fisher was the best she could do, not because he was extraordinary, but because her weight convinced her she had limited options. Her words, her jokes, her entire onstage persona revolved around this quiet fear that she wasn't desirable enough to aim higher. But now she's thin. She's glowing. She's stepping into the paparazzi lens with the confidence of someone who believes her value has suddenly increased. And here's where the story becomes sharper. When someone who felt trapped by their body suddenly feels marketable, everything changes. The way they look at their partner, the way they look at themselves, the way they look at the world. Friends close to the couple whisper that Amy is preparing to upgrade, that the man she once defended, explained, excused, is now a liability, a reminder of a past she's trying to erase. Meanwhile, Chris has every incentive to stay, not for love, but for leverage. Amy has written shows about him, used their marriage as content, turned their life into material that made her millions. And if this union collapses, the financial fallout won't be small. This isn't just a marriage, it's a power structure, one that is now under stress because Amy's self-perception has mutated overnight. Weight loss didn't fix the cracks, it only made them visible.
At this point, Amy's story is no longer just about weight loss, Instagram wipes, or a marriage under stress. It becomes a window into something deeper, a psychological pattern that repeats itself across celebrity culture. Because fame does a strange thing to people.
It magnifies every insecurity and hides every flaw behind applause. It gives you attention, but it also fractures your identity. And if you already doubt your worth, fame can turn that doubt into an obsession. Amy has always played the character of the messy woman, the woman who isn't pretty enough, not thin enough, not lovable enough. It was a role, yes, but roles become cages very quickly. So when she finally got the body she believed would set her free, she didn't feel liberated. She felt exposed. The thinner she became, the more fragile her sense of self became, because now she wasn't protected by the old persona. She couldn't hide behind the joke anymore. And that's the paradox. Fame makes people feel invincible. Fame also makes people feel disposable. Amy's erasure of her past is not confidence. It's panic. It's the panic of someone who looks in the mirror and still sees the version the world laughed at, even after it's gone. This is the celebrity self-destruction loop. They rise, they fracture, they reinvent, they erase. And somewhere in that cycle, they lose the version of themselves that felt real. Amy Schumer didn't delete photos. She deleted the only identity she ever knew how to monetize.
At the end of all this, it's tempting to point at Amy Schumer and say the problem is hers alone. Her insecurity, her contradictions, her marriage, her choices. But the truth is larger than one woman. We live in a culture obsessed with reinvention, a culture that praises confidence but rewards self-hatred, a culture that tells people to love themselves while making sure they never feel good enough to stop buying the next solution. Amy Schumer is not an outlier. She is a reflection, a mirror held up to a society where identity is disposable, where the past is an inconvenience, and where appearance determines power even in the spaces that pretend to reject it. Her story exposes the pressure to be perfect, the fear of being irrelevant, and the panic that comes from realizing your old image was the only thing holding your life together. When Amy deleted her photos, she wasn't just wiping away weight. She was wiping away a version of herself she could no longer stand to face. A version she once claimed to embrace. A version she now treats as a mistake. And that should make us ask a serious question, not about Amy, but about all of us. If your past doesn't fit your present, do you fix your life or do you delete the evidence? Because in the age of curated identities, disappearing isn't failure, it's a strategy. And Amy Schumer is simply the latest reminder of what happens when reinvention goes too far, and a person decides the only way forward is to erase who they used to be.